My name is Pearl Jo. I was born in Fargo, North Dakota, and went back to China. And when I was 10 years old, returned back to the U.S. When I was 16 years old. In China, people believe in arranged marriage. So I was arranged to a family down in Mississippi. It was a strange situation. You don't know each other, but later on you got to know each other. We get along fine. We all lived behind the grocery store, and then when the World War II came, he got drafted into the Army. All my brothers and sisters, we were all real close together. Well, there were 7 of us. There's always something to do. Read the newspaper, do the exercise, and write letters to people if I can still write, and send cards to all the grandchildren's birthday.
I was born in Ladoga, Indiana. The year was 1922. It was the 13th of March. My mother did not go to the hospital. She had me in our home, which was about 1 mile away from Ladoga. School was tough for me the first year or so. I was not pulling down any good grades. But finally, by the time I reached my last year of college, I loved the practice teaching and I got an A. So that was my claim to fame. I liked what I had chosen. I had a boyfriend who was overseas. He joined the day after Pearl Harbor, and he wanted to be a flyer. So anyway, through all of this, as I'm teaching, I come home from school and I look up and here he stands in uniform at our door. And this kind of startled me a little bit. And he said, "Would you like to go to California?" Well, yeah, I'd like to go to California. Okay, in about 12 or 15 days, we had everything necessary, got married, and went to California. And here I am. My husband loved to fly, and he didn't want to stay in the military, so he got out of the military, but he loved to fly. I went down and soloed at the airport. And I didn't want to go out there and do this with 3 babies at home. That upset me. But I did go, and I finally decided I was going to be able to take over in case something happened. As we went down to Baja, California, and as we had another couple with us, and as we were coming back, we decided to land at one of the villages along the way. And as he was landing, this was a twin-engine aircraft, one of the wheels broke. And so we skidded at the landing. And that kind of upset us because it wasn't our airplane.
I reported to a battleship in Bremerton, Washington, the USS Oklahoma. I spent my first 10 months on the ship swabbing decks, painting the masts, and other generally deck force jobs. On December 7th, the Oklahoma was sunk, and my battle station, which was telephone talker for the gunnery officer, that particular station did not survive. On leaving the Naval Academy, I went to Supply Corps School, and from there to Yokosuka, Japan. I was married the day I graduated. Well, I just want to say that being 100 years old is not for sissies. Everything just gets a little harder. Getting up, getting down, walking, everything. But it's better than the alternative.
Robert Kuznick, and born April 8, 1922, at Springfield, Illinois. A newspaper boy, carried newspapers. First job was postal telegraph as a messenger. And then we worked at we had messengers and at the State House. I had worked out of the office in the State House and delivered messages just to the state employees. Then after I left there, I went to the office and worked out of the office. First car was a 32 Chevrolet, which I bought it, and I couldn't take it home because my mother and dad wouldn't let me have it, so I parked it at a friend of mine around the corner. She was in nurse's training, and I used to, how will I put it, take supplies and that, hand them to her through a rope to the window to their apartment. She worked at the hospital. It was run by the nuns. And it had a nun at the door all the time. You never did go in to see anybody. So in order to make our communications, we went by the windows. Then we went together for quite a while. Then we got married. That's when we married.
What year did you get married?
1946.
New York City. I'm a New Yorker. We are New Yorkers. Well, I was very fortunate because my father was an attorney and he was assistant to the Attorney General in the White House. So I had a higher caliber and escaped that through the blessings of Jesus. Nothing good happens in my life without Jesus. So I escaped the depression. It was not common to see people looking for food daily in garbage cans. Well, my grandmother was a fashion designer, and growing up, every day I would be doing the fashions with her. So I just automatically came into it. Have you heard of the Dr. Zhivago picture? Well, I did the gowns for the premier. I had a fashion salon on East 53rd Street under the name of Cherise Fashions. As you pass on the street, there was a little white marble plaque, and in gold it said Cherise Fashions. So you just come one flight up, and there I am. People complain, it's raining, it's this, it's hot, it's cold. I say in the mornings when I step up, thank you for your beautiful day, Jesus. There's a difference. I always compliment Jesus. People complain.
Oh, and she can dance.
Oh, I can dance all night.
She can dance. Mother has always been a great dancer, and even at 100,
I was born by Cordelia. My parents owned a store there in Suisun, the Genova Market, for some 51 years. The Genova Market, which is next to the Bank of America in Suisun. I had 3 older brothers that all had to work in it after school, and it was rather difficult for them to get into any of the ball games. My parents always wanted their help in that store. My dad he worked for the rock quarries, and what he did, he knew how to repair them. Nobody else knew how. So he traveled up and down the state to repair them, and also he was a dynamite expert. He dynamited, the last one he did was the Cordelia Y. He dynamited for the state. Not many people knew how to do that. I think he may have learned that when he came from Italy. They came from Italy in about approximately 19, or thereabouts, northern Italy. I worked for a title company. And I became the secretary to the manager of it, private secretary. And I took shorthand and typing for college notes, and I used it as a career, so that's a good piece of advice to people. You should have something you can fall back on. My husband was Lester King of Vacaville, and he worked for a couple of insurance companies. I think one of them was Metropolitan briefly. Then he went on to another insurance company. I've forgotten which ones they were. That's been way back, 40, 50 years ago. So I can't remember all. But we were very happily married for 62 years, I think, before he passed away.
Well, I was born in Olympia, and my family lived in a small town, or it wasn't a town, it was a community called Tillicum, and it was on American Lake, where I learned how to swim and spend many joyful days in the summertime. My dad had a garden, yes, every year, and grew carrots and potatoes and squash and whatever else you could grow. And we had a prune tree. And we didn't have an apple tree, but the neighbors had several, so they'd let us have the apples that had fallen to the ground. My mother raised chickens, and when I got older, or my brother got the first duck, and he was being silly with it and just putting his face down in the duck, and the duck grabbed him by the nose and wouldn't let go. And we thought that was hilarious. I used to take the ducks out and turn the rocks, big rocks over so the ducks could get the bugs. My sister thought that was terrible. Our house just had 2 bedrooms. My parents had one, and my brother and I had another. That's before my sister was born. And he decided he wanted to sleep outside on the front porch. So Mother said, okay, go ahead. So he fixed himself up a bit. And it snowed that first night that he was out there. And he just got covered with snow blowing in on him. Well, I think he continued to sleep out there and said, oh, it's a little snow. It just, one day was pretty much like the other, and we got up and went to school, and in the summer we went swimming, and it was just a very quiet, peaceful area to live in, and no big problems. It was just, we knew most of the neighborhood, and everybody kind of looked out for one another. Just love each other, be kind to each other, help each other.